Good afternoon. Good morning up on the West Coast. This is Digging Deep, an Ortiz Squared podcast with former Major League All-Star Russ Ortiz and sports writer Jesus Ortiz, and special guest Raul Marquez, former world champion, former Olympian, and his son Giovanni, reigning National Gold Glove champion. Russ Ortiz won't be with us this weekend. He had a prior commitment, but he says hi, guys. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. Uh, a lot of great news in boxing. A lot of great news with Gio. Gio, let's start right off the bat with your great news from this week. How exciting has this week been for you?
This week has been very exciting. First of all, thank you for having us on. I recently signed a management deal with one of the top managers in the game right now, split team management. So that's a big step in my pro career, and we're excited about that.
Raul, how pumped are you to see your son getting closer and closer to following your footsteps
Oh man,
in the pro boxing world?
I'm super pumped up, man. And then just being here in Vegas this weekend, the fight capital of boxing, it's everything to me. Him signing with David McWater, who I believe is one of the best managers out there right now. He's a guy that knows how to keep you in the right path. Find the right fights with the right opportunities, the right promoter. We have an excellent team with my son, who obviously he's the boxer. He's the one that gets inside the ring, and I'm me as a trainer, and his two brothers Arturo and Raul in the corner too. I think we got the whole team, and we're looking forward to this new venture.
So tell me a little bit about it's Triple T, right? Is that the name of the marketing group?
Say it again.
Tell me a little bit about the marketing group and how you guys chose that, and how does one go about choosing a marketing arm?
Oh, well, split management. Dave McWater, he manages Teofimo Lopez, who's the undisputed lightweight champion. He's got all three belts, and he manages like another 90 fighters. And he's really good. He's got a good eye at talent. This guy David, he's a friend of mine. I've known him for years. We've seen him at national tournaments. In the amateurs, he's the type of guy that'll sit there and watch a bunch of fights. He's like a scout, and he looks at different fighter styles and their character, and he picked it when Giovanni won the national Golden Gloves. He's always been following Giovanni, but when Giovanni won the national Golden Gloves, and Giovanni was giving everybody 8 counts, hurting everybody at the nationals, giving them 8 counts, and he won the nationals and he got the outstanding fighter award. That's when David says, "Man, I got to get this kid because that completes the package." I mean, I like what I see in Giovanni, and I think he's got a lot of talent, and he's going to be a really good prospect, and that's why he signed him up. So now, there's like 2 or 3 different promoters that he's talking to that are very interested in promoting Giovanni. So soon we'll know who. What promoter we're going to sign with, and then when Giovanni's going to debut as a professional fighter.
Wow, that's amazing. I know a couple of months ago, we went down to the gym shortly after Gio won the Golden Gloves up in Tulsa. Gio, how has your life changed? And we had fun telling your story on video, and I don't know if you saw it on our monthly magazine show on AT&T Sportsnet Southwest. How has your life changed since you won the Golden Gloves in Tulsa, and what's going on with you right now?
Yeah. Before winning the nationals, I was already getting a lot of attention just because of who my dad is. Being the son of former world champion and all that. But now that I won the national Golden Gloves, I'm getting even more attention. So that's mainly what has changed, just all the attention I'm getting, and it's a good feeling, but I just got to stay focused and not let that get to me and just focus on what I got to do. Now we signed with the management team, so they're going to do their part. My dad as his trainer does his part, and I do my part, and we can go to the top.
And Raul, you mentioned that the management company also manages Teofimo Lopez, who's about to have a pretty big fight
Yes.
coming up too. That's a pretty badass dude right now in boxing, you know?
Oh yeah, Teofimo's. I mean, he's a really good fighter. He surprised the world when he beat Lomachenko. As a matter of fact, he surprised me because I'm honestly I didn't think he was going to beat Lomachenko, but he proved himself. He proved me wrong. He proved a lot of people wrong, and now he's on top of the world, man. He's got all 3 belts. You know, he's going to be defending it here pretty soon. He's one of the champions that are on the rise and is making a big name, and it's truly an honor to be around those people. I think he might be at the fights this Friday night. Some ESPN card that we're gonna go watch. It's a top ranked card, and I think he's gonna be around. Like I said, we're just blessed that we're around a group of. We're able to surround ourselves with a group of great boxing people.
You're listening to Digging Deep, an Ortiz Squared podcast with former Major League All-Star Russ Ortiz and sports writer Jesus Ortiz, and our special guest today, former world champion Raul Marquez and his son Gio Marquez, reigning National Golden Glove champ, best fighter of the Golden Gloves this year in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Gio, as a fan of boxing, as somebody who grew up with it, as somebody whose dad was a world champion, whose dad went to the Olympics, what do you look at when you're watching a boxing match? It's one thing for me, who's never been in the ring, to watch a boxing match and not understand. But when you're there watching a boxing match, what do you want to see this weekend on Friday at that bout, and then Saturday when Canelo? How do you watch a match? What do you look at?
Usually when I would go to these big fights, I would just watch these fights as a fan, just enjoy the moment. But now that I'm embarking on my professional career, I'm watching each and every move that they do, how they throw their jab, their feints. So I'm studying these top fighters, and it's a privilege that I'm able to go to these big fights and witness greatness firsthand. And that's what I'm looking for when I watch these fights, seeing the movements, how they hold their hands, and all that.
And Raul, you've been there. You not only have you seen the fight, you've been in a world championship fight. Mm-hmm. How do you watch it? And also, for people who don't know, Raul Marquez is one of the best boxing broadcasters in America. He does it in both languages. The dude is a stud in Espanol and in English. And I wore this cap specifically for you, Raul, because you represent the best of Mexico and the best of the U.S. Came from Mexico, raised in the U.S. I was raised in the U.S., so I always like to pay tribute to my parents' country. But what is that Mexican style that defines Canelo and defines the Mexican boxer?
Well, first of all, let me start this with saying Puro Vallehermoso, Tamaulipas, because I know all the fans love that. They love when they hear Vallehermoso, Tamaulipas. That's where I'm from. That's where I was born, and I never forget where I come from. And I represent it all the way. So, arriba Vallehermoso. So, when I look at styles, styles make fights. When you look at the Mexican style of boxing, people think, they used to think an aggressive-minded fighter, that comes to war, comes to fight, blood and guts, that kind of thing. But Canelo is not, you cannot say he's actually that kind of a Mexican style of fighter, because he's a very smart guy. He's very elusive. He's got speed. He's got good head movement, good defense. He knows how to move, get in, get out, good footwork. But he's also a pressure fighter. He makes the fights exciting. He comes to fight. That's why people support him, because he's an exciting fighter. He's a pressure guy, but he knows how to pressure you without getting hit. So I think, he's fighting Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant is a very, he's a very good boxer too. He's a tall guy. He's got the reach. It's going to be a very interesting fight this weekend. I think, people should tune in, buy it on Showtime pay-per-view. I'll be doing the Spanish telecast with my partner Alejandro Luna, and it's a good night of boxing. It's a really good night of boxing, and support whoever you think's gonna win.
We at our Esquina take pride in amplifying Latino voices and Latino stories in sports, all sports, college football, NFL, basketball, NBA, baseball, Major League Baseball, boxing. Mexicanos, I'm Mexican American. They love their boxing, right? And you tell that story. You bring the boxing match. You explain to us what we may not understand. How difficult or easy is it for you to broadcast these? And what helps you the most when you're, you know, telling us what's going on?
Honestly, I've been doing this for a long time. Even when I was an active fighter, I've been doing this since 1997, 96, when I had the first opportunity to do a boxing telecast. It was on Telemundo. You know, somebody had hurt themselves and they said, "Hey, you want to try it?" I said, "Sure enough, I'll try." I tried it. So I kept on doing it through the years, and I liked it. They kept bringing me back with different networks and stuff. And I didn't get with Showtime until 2012. I started doing the Spanish, and then later on that year, I started doing a series called Showbox in English. So, I've been with Showtime for, ever since 2012. But for me, it comes pretty easy, because I just try to make the people feel comfortable. Like, it's like we're watching a fight, like we're talking right now, like we're sitting in the living room, and, I try to explain to them why the guy's getting hit or what he has to do to avoid that punch. Or who's winning the fight. Simple words, just kind of like just going back and forth, talking about boxing, what I know, the technical part of it, the aspects of that, the footwork again, the speed, how the preparation, how the fighters, what they have to do to prepare for the style of fighting that they have in front of them. And of course, I prepare myself. Everything is preparation. I mean, you just can't, just because I was a boxer doesn't mean I know it all. I got to sit down and do some research. And find out more about this guys that Showtime sends you, and which makes you a better broadcaster, and it gives a better feel for the audience that are watching us on TV.
And I'll tell you, it's good to have the representation, right? To have people who have done it explain what's going on. And there's a lack of Latinos in broadcasting throughout. You look at Major League Baseball. There's only one Latino who broadcasts in English, and I told you this in September. I think you're one of the best because you could do it in both languages. You could call a fight in English, you could call a fight in Spanish, and cheering for you to call more big time fights.
Yeah, I even translated for Showtime. One point, I know the translator that they have. Felix de Jesus had an emergency, so I even translated up in the ring, for the fighters. So, I've done, like I said, I've done, Spanish broadcasting, do the English broadcasting, then translating. I do it all, man.
Orale. And Gio, tell us about your Spanish and how much are you growing with your Spanish now that you're going to become a pro, and Mexicanos, they're going to be wanting to hear you a little bit in Spanish. Have you been working on that Spanish too?
Yes. So when I won the Golden Gloves, one of the first interviews I did was with Univision, and I struggled a little bit with my Spanish, and after that I knew I had to work on it. So I've been working on it a little bit since then, and I'm really looking to improve my Spanish a lot.
And Raul, you'll take this the right way, I think. Right. How much do you think the fact that Gio's also a good-looking kid, how much do you think that'll help him in his career, especially because the Mexicanos, they loved Oscar because he was good-looking, and how much do you think that'll help him with the fans too? Because he's a good-looking kid.
Yeah, that always helps. That always, of course, more marketability. It helps all around, and you're right. Women do follow like boxing or MMA or baseball, but when they see a good-looking guy, they want to sit down and watch. I mean, I see it all the time. Oh, with the baseball, watching the baseball the other day for the World Series, with the family. Oh, he's a cutie or whatever, So in the boxing world, it works the same way. I think Giovanni is he's my son. He's a very good-looking kid, and you see it too. So that's going to help him in his career.
When we think about boxing and we think of its place in society, and you think of Houston's place in boxing, Houston has a great boxing history. Foreman was here. Raul Marquez was a champion here. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you, Gio, to try to be the next great Houston boxer?
Yeah, that is definitely my goal. Like you said, we've had great champions. George Foreman, my dad. Currently, we have the Charlo twins. But that is definitely my goal, is to be the face of Houston boxing. I feel like there's no one coming up right now to carry that name. And my dream is to actually fight at the Toyota Center one day in Houston, in my hometown. I think that would be an amazing thing.
Well, that'll be awesome. I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to cover that and to follow your career. Let's talk a little bit about the fight this weekend, the Canelo fight. And I'm going to ask you this, Raul, because you've been there, you've helped promote these fights.
Right.
And people were always like, okay, was this real? Do these guys really hate each other, or they're just talking smack because they're trying to sell some tickets? And, boxing is famous, right, for like, Muhammad Ali and Frazier, just building that kind of that brouhaha. And sometimes they didn't dislike each other. Sometimes they flat out disliked each other. Do Canelo and Caleb Plant dislike each other? And how stunned were you when like they literally threw some blows?
Honestly, I mean, I truly believe that they don't like each other. Whatever they were, they know, whenever they were face to face and they were talking to each other, not everybody really heard what was going on. But something triggered Canelo to push him. And then, of course, Caleb Plant had to retaliate with that. So I really think that there's a lot of grudge. They don't like each other, man. And I was surprised. I was very surprised that happened, because I didn't expect that. I'm sure there probably were supposed to be other press tours, like other cities but they probably canceled them because of what happened in that press conference. Like we can't have this guys face each other and they're going to be trying to throw down every city that we're promoting the fight. Back to your question, I think there's some coraje there, there's some anger there, and they're going to be able to let it out here pretty soon in 2 more days. The weigh-in's tomorrow. We're excited. We'll be at the weigh-in. I'm covering the weigh-in too. My son will be there, and then the fight is on Saturday, and they're gonna let it out, man. We're looking forward to it.
I'll ask you this question, and you're probably gonna laugh a little bit, and Gio won't understand because he's 3rd generation essentially. But my dad, he came from Jalisco, and I didn't know he spoke English until I was in college. I never heard him speak English, and we lived in a part of California where if you didn't want to speak anything but Spanish, you'd live your whole life without ever having to speak anything but Spanish. Puro Mexicano where we lived. And I never heard my dad utter a word until somebody called him that word that Caleb Plant called Canelo. And I heard my dad say it, and it was so funny because the mother sounded like mudar, and I'm like, oh my Lord, what's going on? And I heard, you could hear Canelo say, don't call me that word. Do not call me that word. For people who don't know, and I've tried to explain it, because the when I was a columnist at St. Louis Post-Dispatch, the manager of the Diamondbacks told the umpire that same word, don't listen to this MF talking about Yadier Molina. And then the whole world was like, why is Yadier Molina ready to fight this guy? That's one word you do not call a Latino, right? And
right.
Can you explain to people what that word means in our culture and why you would never let another man call you that?
You want me to explain it, or Giro?
Yeah. You want to explain it, like why, for people who don't know, why Canelo would be so upset when that word was uttered?
When it's different dialect. It's a different way of translating it. But when you put the F in it, it's like you're kind of talking about your mom to a certain extent. You're talking to but it depends also on how you deliver it. I think there was a little bit of a misunderstanding there, because, honestly, Canelo, I think he knows what that word means. I think it was something else that triggered him, to be honest with you. I don't even think it was that, because he had used that word before, where he's telling guys to get out of the room with the stuff, get out of here, whatever. But he said that Caleb Plant was talking about his mom, and I don't think it's so much that. I think he was just talking about, Caleb Plant was talking about Canelo. That word was directed to him. And it maybe other little things that were said. I don't think it was just that.
Maybe I try to explain.
Maybe this guy's in front of him. The guy's a big, tall guy. Maybe he felt like Canelo's like, man, this guy disrespected me. Like he's not intimidated by me or something. There's a lot of things that trigger fighters. So only they know us.
That's awesome, and I've tried to explain this. I've tried to explain it in St. Louis. Tried to explain it in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a cultural difference, right? The guys, I have friends and they'll use that word. I'm like, dude, like that doesn't sound in my ears. That doesn't sound like it sounds in your ears. And I know it's not a big deal because of how we're raised. But when I saw that, and I just think, and were you ever in a ring with somebody that you dislike, that you're like, okay, this is more than business. I hate this guy. I want to beat this guy. In your long career, was there ever a fight where you really disliked the guy you were fighting?
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm sure there was. I can't really name any fighters right now, but I'm sure there was a couple, 2 or 3 that I really wanted to kick their butt. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's competition and it's egos, and that's the way it goes. You want to be the winner. So I'm sure there was in my career.
How does it feel like to knock somebody out? Like, how does it feel like? Is it like a home run? I cover guys in baseball where they say as soon as they hit it, they know it's out. Like Jorge Soler the other day, he didn't even bother looking at that ball leave the stadium. He hit it, looked at it, and then turned, and then like this. Do you know? Like, is there like a feeling that you're like, oh, this dude's done? Can you hear me?
I could answer that question. Baseball. What's that?
No, go ahead.
Can you
I'm
hear
sorry.
Me? Yeah, kind of like when you hit a baseball and that's a good hit or that's a home run, like how you were explaining it. Same thing in boxing when you hit somebody with a good straight lead or a hook or a nice body shot, you know that hurt the guy, or when he goes down, or you say, oh, he didn't get back up because that was good. You just feel it in your hand and all through your body, like that's a good shot.
Wow. That's awesome. You're listening to Digging Deep, an Ortiz Squared podcast with former Major League All-Star Russ Ortiz and sports writer Jesus Ortiz, and our special guests today, former world champion Raul Marquez and his son Gio Marquez, defending National Golden Gloves champion, best boxer at the Golden Glove Championships this year in Tulsa, Oklahoma, who just signed a marketing deal, who will probably be turning pro sometime soon, perhaps. When we have a few minutes, because you guys are busy, and I appreciate that you guys took time out of your busy schedule to be with us. What should we be looking for in boxing for the next 6 months on Showtime, on on your telecast, Raul, as a broadcaster, and Gio, on you moving forward?
You?
Moving forward, we're still negotiating deals and all that, so I don't have a specific fight date yet, but I can say early next year, most likely, is when I'll be making my professional debut.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about, first of all, Giovanni's career, maybe at the end of the year, maybe at the beginning of the year. There's also talk about him doing his debut, his professional debut on Showtime, on ShowBox, the series that I cover. There's talk about that. There's a lot of things that could happen. And for me, I got a busy schedule, man. I got Canelo planned this weekend. Then I got next week, I'll be in Phoenix, Arizona. I got Benavidez, Dave Benavidez. That's another guy that could be lined up to fight Canelo down the line. And then at the end of the month, right after Thanksgiving, I have Brandon Figueroa, who's in a real tough fight too. And then we have Tank Davis the following week. in a really good fight too. That was one of the up and coming stars, Tank Davis. That fight's going to be in LA. Then the following week we have Nonito Donaire, another fight in LA, and then I believe at the end of the month, December, like December 18th, we have the YouTube guys, the brothers, the Logan Paul and Jake Paul. Jake Paul's going to be fighting in Tampa. He's fighting Fury, Tommy Fury. That's Tyson Fury's half brother. So I got a busy schedule. I got a hectic schedule, and then of course I got my gym my boxing fitness gym. Got a lot of things going on. I got Giovanni's career. I got to train Giovanni. He's got to be in shape. We got some good sparring this past yesterday with a good guy. We went 6 tough rounds. Today we're gonna work out. We're trying to get some sparring with Devin Haney tomorrow, who's a world champion. He's a lightweight world champion. Just
Wow, it sounds like we're having some wireless issues here. But thanks a lot, guys, for being on here with us. We look forward to following Giovanni's career. Raul, we need to get together here. We're practically neighbors here in the suburbs of Houston. But thank you for all you guys do for boxing, for lifting Latinos everywhere, and Gio for showing out for Houston. And it's great to follow your career. It's great to see where you're going. And thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. Excuse me. You've been listening to Digging Deep in our T Squared podcast with former Major League All-Star Russ Ortiz and sports writer Jesus Ortiz. With our special guest this week, Raul Marquez, former world champion, and Gio Marquez, his son, Golden Glove champ, who is on his way to following his dad's footsteps. Guys, thank you very much. Enjoy the weekend. I'll be up in Vegas. I might call you guys late at night, see where y'all partying, to go hang out and party with you guys.
Giovanni does too, and we look forward to building up Giovanni. Hit us up. We're with the right guy. We're with Albert Sertucci. He's the guy, man. He is the guy. He's the party animal. If you hang out with him, you ain't going to sleep.
All right. Well, my wife's with me, so I'll probably have to get special permission. But my wife jokes with my siblings that the only time I drink is when I'm with them. So I'm just gonna say, hey, son mis primos Marquez, so it's family. Gracias. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. Be well.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, we're good.